What's good, everybody? It's John. I'm coming back at you on another video. So with this video here, I want this one to be a reminder to let you know that you always have the opportunity to reinvent. This means reinventing yourself. At any point, you can reinvent yourself. You can reinvent your business, right? Reinventing is just using your imagination to try something new, to try something different, try something that's out of the box, because you don't have to accept the normal approach, the normal way of doing things, right? If you're doing everything the same exact way everyone else is doing, then chances are you'll be getting the same results as everyone else, and it'll be hard for you to stand out. But reinventing yourself allows you to be different and to stand out. And sometimes reinventing yourself is all it takes to make it past the hump or to break out, right? Like that could very well be the only adjustment that you need to make in order to break through. And I have some few examples where I want to talk about reinventing. And these are things that I've thought about for quite some time that now, I'm finally able to share with you all. So if we take a stroll down memory lane back when we were all experiencing the pandemic in 2020, of course, many countries around the world experienced lockdowns, right? Especially here in New York City, because it is such a densely populated city. We experienced lockdowns here, and many families stayed at home, with the exception of essential workers, right? Many families stayed at home because we wanted to slow the spread of the virus. And it was interesting to me how many restaurants, right, they continued operating the same exact way despite the obvious pandemics and the lockdowns that were affecting foot traffic and business, right? Of course, people weren't physically going to restaurants, sit down and eating because they didn't want to risk contracting the virus or spreading it to other people, right? So, of course, that was a time where deliveries, like food deliveries, skyrocketed because people were ordering food. They were probably doing less grocery shopping and ordering more frequently, right? And I was surprised that there were very few restaurants that decided to make adjustments during that time, right? Like if you knew that there weren't going to be foot traffic for however long the duration of the pandemic was going to be, right? And you knew that the majority of people were going to be ordering food via takeout. In a case like that, a business could have reinvented itself by, if they had a menu that focused on mostly just selling like entrees, right? Like a standard menu, they could have, for the time being, right, scrapped that menu and decided to create something based on the ingredients that they had available and start selling more family package, deals, so that families that were at home that wanted to order food and feed the family could do so at a more reasonable price, right? Like it's things like that where reinventing could make or break you or your business, right? There's other businesses that existed that have historically always reinvented or did things differently in order to be at the very top. Like if we look at a company like Apple, for example, if you were to ask random people, say, oh, what company, what industry is Apple in? So people say electronics. And of course they wouldn't be wrong, but Apple themselves wouldn't say that they're an electronic company, right? They're a problem solving company. That's their business model. Their business model is to solve problems. And so that's why they're always the pioneers when it comes to product innovation and new products, right? The iPod, like headphones, right? AirPods, right? Things like that. Because we as humans would have a problem, right? Say, for example, we would like listen to music and we have the old school CD players with all the CDs. We have to carry that all the time. Well, I didn't have to do that, but other people back then, much older than me, had to carry all the CDs everywhere if they wanted to listen to music. So then Apple found the solution for that and created the iPod. And then that was, of course, massive. But then they realized that they can just combine the iPod music with the cell phone and then also create the iPhone, which has everything that you need all in one device with the touchscreen and everything, right? So you begin to see how sometimes just staying in the same spot, because Apple could have, if they wanted to make cell phones, they could have just made a flip phone. They could just made whatever phone was popular at the time, but they decided to literally invent new products, and that is what allowed them to remain ahead. Right, they're changing with the times, and you need to also be aware of that as well. So comparing Apple with like restaurants and businesses during the pandemic, many businesses kept the same exact model. They never changed anything about their business during the pandemic when there was no longer any foot traffic. And it makes sense why many businesses struggled, because they didn't adapt. If the businesses focus on eliminating single portions for the most part and creating more family combos, that probably could have led to more sales, and it probably could have led to the businesses and the businesses staying open, right? If of course they scaled back their utilities, right? If no one's coming in to eat at the restaurant, you probably don't need to have all the lights on and all stuff there, so you can like save money in certain areas. But that's what I mean. It's like we're in that moment during the pandemic, we were living in a different time, so it required, in most cases, to reinvent the business in order to remain successful throughout that time. Apple is always going to remain successful because they're always going to be ahead of the curve. They're always looking to solve the problems that people face. And so they're able to reap the benefits of that. You, whether you're creating content, whether you're, working your job, whatever it is, it's like you always have the opportunity to reinvent yourself. You always have the opportunity, if you want to be, even you as a person, if you want to have a different life, if you want to be perceived differently by other people, you can change something about yourself to also change that perspective. You can reinvent yourself as well. You don't have to accept the norm. You don't have to accept what society throws at you or how you should be living based on society standards. You can always reinvent yourself whenever you want. If you're running a business or want to be in your business, you can reinvent that as well. If you've been doing something a certain way, you can change that. If you believe is going to be better, if you believe it's going to help you stand out, you can reinvent yourself with that. See, people often forget that. People think that for some reason that whatever it is, who they are as a person, or whatever business they're in, or whatever they're doing, people forget that they always have access to their imagination and creativity, that it's not a life sentence for them to have to stay doing things a certain way. You don't have to do that. You can always change. You can always improve. You can always do things differently. You can always try something new, because you don't know if that new thing is going to stick if you've never tried it before. Because sometimes people can have an idea and it'll be a great idea and it'll just remain as an idea the entire time rather than them giving it a try. Why not give it a try? Why not do something new? You never know if you're going to be the pioneer of a new wave, of a new industry. But you'll never know if you never try. So I enjoy doing videos like these because I want to help you change your perspective. Maybe you were seeing something just a certain way and you were sold on a certain path. Maybe you just need to think about things differently. Maybe you just need to try something differently. Maybe it might require you, maybe you think of a silly idea and you just try it as a joke for whatever it is that you're doing, and it can end up being something that just happens to work, right? You just never know. But it just seems like so many people are afraid to do things differently or make mistakes or mess up, when that is human nature. That's part of the journey. That's also part of the joy and the fun of exploration and learning, right? And how can you learn without experience, right? So this is why you need to try new things. This is why it's okay to reinvent yourself, to try something new, to dip your toes in different things, because you're always learning and you're always growing. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 50 subscribers. So I want to say thank you guys for watching this video. Once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.